day 18 of the best of 30 days of sketches with Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life. So this time around, instead of doing a series 10, Christy went ahead and looked through all the sketches that she's used over the years. There's been 9 series, and she just kind of picked the ones that were the most popular, the ones that people played along with the most, or the ones that seemed to get, the most kind of fanfare, and pulled out 30 of them. And that's what we're playing along with this month. So it's kind of fun because for some people, they're revisiting a lot of these sketches. They've done them before, and now it's a chance to maybe, tweak some of the things you did the first time, or just completely rethink the whole sketch and try something totally different. And then also it gives you an opportunity if you missed a sketch that you maybe wanted to get to, or after kind of seeing everybody else use it, you thought, ooh, I wish I had picked that one. This gives you an opportunity to kind of grab some of those sketches and use them for the first time. So definitely a really, really fun series. Go and check the link down below for the playlist, because that is where you'll be able to find everybody who's playing along. All the videos are down there, so you can literally click the link. Start with day 1. Sorry, Luna is making a little noise there. Start with day 1 and just go through. I think by the time everything is said and done, Christy said that she anticipates something like 650 videos. So all summer long, you can just be clicking on that playlist and watching all of these amazing videos. But yeah, so I showed you the sketch for today. It's from Karen Gerber, and she created that for Sketchabilities. This is one that I have actually used before, so I definitely enjoyed the sketch. I really had a lot of fun the first time I did it. I followed it quite closely the first time I used it. And so this time I just wanted to do something a little bit different, have a little bit of fun. And I thought this is the perfect sketch to kind of pull out your watercolors, pull out a little bit of mixed media, make a bit of a mess, and just, see what happens. So I've been super kind of into rainbows lately. I don't normally use rainbows. I at least not this way, this sort of classic primary colors, bright rainbowy colors. I do sometimes, probably a lot more in the summer than I would any other time of year, but lately I've been using rainbow paper and using the Sherbert collection and all kinds of, bright, fun colors. The Cocoa Vanilla Sunkissed collection has these really fun, bright colors. So I decided I would go ahead and play around and create a watercolor rainbow. This is definitely a lot bigger kind of, mixed media section than what is in the original sketch, but that's the beauty of repeating a sketch, is that you get to put a different take on it and kind of do something a little bit different. So I'm making this rainbow. The picture that I have here of my boys doesn't really have any specific kind of theme or anything to go with it. They were just being cute. It was a nice picture to take. So I could kind of go anywhere I wanted with it. So I just picked all the colors, and then that way I can go everywhere with it. And so I do have one tip that I have been asked before about when you're putting all the colors of the rainbow into watercolor, or you're using contrasting colors when you're creating, smushing, the smushing technique and stuff like that, about how not to create mud and get that kind of brown, black, yucky color. And so my tip for rainbows is I always start with green. That gives me my center, so I kind of know how big my rainbow is going to be. I can kind of gauge, where I want the color to be by starting with the green. And then I can kind of blend outwards, and the green creates a bit of a buffer. And so the colors that I don't want to mix together tend not to mix together, if that makes sense. So by starting with the green, usually by the time I get to orange, the green is starting to dry a little bit. So green and orange isn't going to mix too much, and you're not going to get the browns or those sort of grays. The orange and the purples, all those contrasting colors, they just have a bit of time to dry, and so they don't create the muddy colors. So that's my tip. I don't know, everybody probably does it a little bit different. You could do each color individually and then just let it dry. It's totally up to you, but I usually start with the green and it seems to work out pretty good for me. In this case, because I was sort of just letting it drip straight down, I wasn't too concerned that any of the colors were going to get muddied, but you notice I did let it drip, and then when I kind of put the paper back down and all the water sort of went back to being level, there was some muddying that was kind of going on where all the water started to pool. So I just soak up those little bits of excess water, or sometimes I try to make sure that that's actually where the picture is going to be covering, so I don't have to worry about it too much. But yeah, start with green and it seems to work for me. And then the thing that I decided to kind of do here that I was experimenting with, and I actually tried this 3 times. This is my 3rd attempt. Just playing with the idea of, I kind of put just that one dot of concentrated color, or I guess it was like a squiggle of concentrated color all in a row. And then for some of the colors where there's sort of multiple shades that I wanted to blend a little bit, the greens, the blues, and the purples, mostly that purple into pink kind of thing. I added a couple different colors, but then I just sprayed the whole thing and let it drip. And part of that was an experiment to see how much it would drip on this paper in particular, but also just kind of, how well this watercolor travels and how concentrated I needed to make those initial dots in order for it to kind of cover as much of the paper as I wanted. It was really just about playing around and seeing what I could do. So another kind of fun thing about having already used this sketch is that I felt like I just had a little bit of freedom to play around and do these kinds of things. And not that you wouldn't if you were using the sketch for the first time. I mean, there's no rules. So you get to decide how you want to interpret it and where you want to take it, what direction you're going to go in. But sometimes when you're using a sketch and, you really want to make it look good and you love that sketch and so you want to follow it a little bit more closely, you may not experiment or play around or anything like that. So, I have 2 other background papers now that I can use at some point, at some time. They're rainbow as well, but they're both a little bit different. I just thought if I had all the watercolors out, I might as well go ahead and play around and see what I could make. I also got a whole bunch of tags out of it because the one piece of paper that I did, I let the drips go all the way down to the bottom and they just kind of accumulated on my desk. And so I had basically a rainbow puddle on my desk. And so I took a bunch of little tags and dipped them all into the colors. And so I got some pretty tags out of it too. So enough of me explaining all about my rainbow, because I'm sure you guys know how to do this, and I completely over-explained it. But I decided to cut the paper down a little bit. So another thing that was different, when I was kind of making the colors and I decided I needed to go a little bit bigger to make sure that all of the colors could be seen from behind the picture, the red touched the edge. And so I thought since it was kind of touching the edge of my white background paper, I would go ahead and cut that down and put it onto another piece of paper so that it has a little bit of a border around it. And then it just doesn't look like everything's kind of running off the side. So that piece of paper came from a Pebbles collection. You can see I pulled out all of the bits and pieces that I have there. I got that from Christy, and so there's a few of the papers and then some of the ephemera. I kind of thought maybe I could use some of the ephemera, and then I decided it wasn't the right feel that I was going for, and so I decided to give some of the sherbet pieces a try. So I've got the big die cut pack that is on the pink side. I think it's called Strawberry Lemonade. So it's pinks, reds, yellows, oranges. And then I have the chipboard pieces, and I can't remember what that's called, but it's got more of the colors. So you can see here I'm using some of the lime green. I would love to find the die cut pack. I think they've made one. I'm pretty sure I've seen other people using it. That is more of the blues and the greens. I'm not sure what it's called, but yeah, I would love to get my hands on it, because as I was going through it here, there is so much stuff in there. That one pack is going to last me so long. And so, yeah, I'd love to have the blues and greens and then kind of have the whole spectrum of color, which is exactly the point of this whole collection. So basically what I did is I tried to pull out a few elements that were all of the colors. And so in the die cut pack, because it's more on the warm side of things, it's all those reds and oranges and yellows and pinks. I pulled out a bunch of those, but I had to go into that chipboard pack, which is a little bit smaller, but still has a ton of stuff. But that's where I was able to find the more kind of darker, it's not a true blue, it's like a teal, and then there's a lighter blue, and I found something that was the green color, so that I kind of have at least one element of most of the colors. The only one that really doesn't seem to be represented in either of the packs that I have is any of the purples. And I don't know if that's part of the spectrum that was used, if there is purples in some of the other, there's rub-ons and all kinds of stuff. So if there's purples in there, but there was nothing in what I had. So that's okay. I went ahead and built up a bunch of layers using all of those bits and pieces. And then you can see here, I went into my sequins and I went ahead and found sequins that matched all of the colors as well. So now you can see how sparkly and pretty it is. And that's my layout. It was so quick and easy to put together. And I don't know, rainbows they pop. They're so stunning. And so I love how this turned out with all the layers and the colors. It's just beautiful. And so that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and check out that link down below for the playlist. And until next time, happy scrapping. Bye.